Tonight, a caregiver out of Carmel is facing a felony charge, accused of abusing a woman with disabilities. And this was all caught on camera. Our Chase Howell spoke with the woman's mother and an advocacy group about what you should do before hiring a caregiver. But first, we do want to warn you, the video you're about to see is disturbing.
That thud was Cynthia Sartino's daughter hitting her head against the wall after allegedly being shaken and thrown to the ground by her caregiver.
Kimmy even said that she had wet the bed and didn't want to lay back down in it, so the caregiver threw her back in the bed and was choking her and was going to make her lay in it.
Cynthia Sartino says she stumbled across the video on Thanksgiving while reviewing the footage from her daughter's apartment.
It's terrifying because they might accidentally kill her. I mean, they could really, truly hurt her. She totally doesn't get it.
Sartino says Kimberly is 39 years old, but has the mental capability of a 3-year-old.
Her favorite activity is to watch Barney and children's programming. That's where she is intellectually. She's not an adult.
Because of her disability, Sartino says her daughter needs around-the-clock care. That's why she says she put Kimberly up at First Call Living in Carmel earlier this year. And since then, she says her daughter has come home more than once with marks on her body.
She had big bruises on her face, her neck, her arms. You could see she had been grabbed, and all on her chest. And I called them immediately, and of course, they claimed they had no idea what happened. And they said a certain employee had done it, and they were going to fire her, and they did.
I reached out to First Call Living about the allegations and to see if the employee accused of the abuse is still employed. The CEO then sent me a statement in which she writes in part, "We are fully cooperating with law enforcement and the relevant authorities as part of the ongoing investigation, but could not comment on personnel or resident matters."
This is exactly the fear that every single family who has a loved one with a disability goes through.
I showed Kim Dodson, the CEO of the ARC, an advocacy group for those living with disabilities, the video. She says it's horrifying to watch, but says abuse among those living with a disability happens more than people might think.
A lot of times, because they're not able to really verbalize what incident took place, they seem to be an easy victim for people.
Dodson says as people search for caregivers, they need to ask tough questions like if they've had any sort of issues in the past that ended up being reported to law enforcement. She also recommends joining Facebook groups to ask for referrals. But when Sartino did that,
the reply was none of them.
Sartino says she was given what they call a pick list when searching for a caregiver to look after Kimberly. It's a packet of more than 100 caregivers. She says it's not only overwhelming, but it also isn't helpful. But Dodson says to call places like the ARC so they can help you navigate through it.
We get a lot of phone calls from families where we talk to families about what's important to you, what are you looking for specifically in a caregiver, and then we help them craft those questions to talk about in an interview.
Dodson says that when a person is interviewing someone to look after their loved one, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Reporting, Chase Howell, 13 News.
And again, the worker in that video has been charged with abuse of a disabled person. That's a level 6 felony. We also have links to resources on our website right now if you believe someone is being abused.